Hi everyone, my name is Georgia Reish and welcome to Mama's Soul Food, Mama's Soul Food and Reflections. Please subscribe or like if you like the video because first of all, it makes me feel good. Feels like I'm offering something that makes a difference to you. And secondly, it attracts people to the station, not that that's really my intent. But really, it's more like saying, I'm part of a community that cares. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. People just really wanting to be a part of something. Right? We're all trying to be a part of something. Sometimes I wonder if we have to be a part of who we are ourselves individually first before we can really be a part of something bigger. And in truth, that's sort of what I've had to learn, not just professionally in my own work, but in my relationships. You know, to have a sense of who you are as a person in the center of who you are. That is called holding your own and creating your life. And it's very important that we take time to build that inner resilience of inner knowing through meditations, reflective speakers, grounding music. This is a time for us to really go within and ask, what's my role here in this world? Because we all have one. What is my job as a light bearer, as a person of spiritual intent, of someone who just wants to hold a higher moral code? What's my job? And when I know myself better, I can really bring that in to have greater impact in the world. I always talk about that the value of our daily life is found in this beautiful inner dance because it emanates from there. And if we can't dance with ourselves and love with ourselves and know ourselves, we're always kind of bouncing off what's happening around us. At least that's what I experience. So my own journey of healing has been about stopping the bounce off of other people's beliefs, including, what I was programmed to believe and what's going on around me. So I guess I'm just trying to bounce off of a higher perspective. A soul perspective. So just a thought as you're going around today and maybe triggered or impacted or kind of have an experience, it's just maybe causes some kind of reaction in you mentally or emotionally, drop into the soul perspective. What does the soul perspective say? It says that something is bigger than I can see. It asks, what am I going to learn in this experience that I'm being triggered by? It demands us to look within. I linked a song below. It's such a simple mantra. It's called I Release Control, and it has a few words, and it says, I release control I release control and surrender to the love of all that I'm healing. No, it's I release control and I surrender to the flow of healing. Isn't it interesting, though, that my mind remembered I release control and I surrender to all that I am healing. And, you know, in the greater cosmos of life, when we do our own inner work of healing and caring for ourselves and releasing, it's such a relief, because what we let go of is the need to try to control everything. Everything within us, everything around us. And we trust that the universe has a plan, not just for the world, but even for me. And it's such great peace to release control. I ask myself, what can I control? Well, I can control in the here and now. I can control my thoughts. Step number 1. And how do I surrender to the flow of love that is healing? First of all, admit, or emit the truth of your own vulnerability. We are all vulnerable human beings. And we're particularly vulnerable right now when there's so much change about, you know. And we're particularly vulnerable when there's things happening that are painful. So that's our first step, is admitting that our ego isn't as puffed up as it likes to believe. And secondly, to surrender also says, I trust in a higher process. You can use whatever words you want. Sometimes I use God, sometimes I use the Holy Spirit, sometimes I use the universe. However you connect to a bigger, a higher, a soul space. It knows more. It's your higher self. It knows more. And to surrender to that is another way of saying to ourselves and our egos, hey, you know what? You're not always clear, so why don't we just trust that a higher wisdom is working, and my job is to stay in my lane and to find out who I am in this process. At the end of the day, the only way we can really change our lives, our communities, our politics, is by knowing ourselves and who we are. Inward first. It's amazing what happens when you get to that center. It's not like a state of perfection. It's just a state of peace. And quite honestly, you know, we have many spiritual gurus who've talked about that amazing peace that comes from being in the center of our spiritual selves. So I guess that's what was meant to come through today, folks. I'm going to pick a card, oracle card from Esther and Jerry Hicks First of all, that painting behind me, it's a woman with copper hair. Anyways, I forget the name of it. Oh, I remember the name. It's called Unity. Unity. And that unity is actually my own personal journey that I was on in developing my own sense of self and self-love and going inwards, and all those little things coming in from the cosmos around me. They're just energies of awareness and learning. So I think the unity was about learning that no matter what was going on in my life, I had a strong, centered space within myself, as we all do. Okay. I like this one a lot. It is not my job to convince anyone of anything. This is particularly helpful right now, because we're very busy thinking that we need to change other people. Make your decisions about what you want and set out to create the life experience that you choose, and allow others to do the same. That's what I mean about staying in your lane. Make the decisions about what you want and allow others to do the same. The releasing of control. And this is very hard if we're still learning to love ourselves and still kind of behaving in codependent relationships and still, trying to hear our own self inside. But, when you stay in your lane, you just have to let go of what other people are doing and trust that your barometer, your compass is going to take you somewhere. I love that. We aren't responsible for teaching anyone, changing anyone. We're responsible for our own experience. And the cool thing about that is once you kind of get in that vibe, then you start meeting people who are in the vibe of awareness and self-love, and they care. They care. And you can feel it. Anyways, thanks for letting me share my inner Ranley.